as Tom knows, in the female side last year, when he introduced the counting of passes to his team, they became conscious and aware of it, and they passed better. I don't know what you did. I don't think you did deliberate passing. You just done a lot of smaller games with constraints, and they learned to pass, and you got the results. So the ability to teach the passing and the support and the timing with constraints in the games, Tom's mastered.
Well, I think,
Now,
Wally, can I just interject here?
please do.
Yeah, I don't think you can throw out the baby with the bathwater. Just you still. I really like putting players together and working on the skills. So they have the proper technique and they're holding their stick right, and and they're not just slapping the puck, which is the most common thing, in youth hockey, and then put that into a game. I just posted a King's Court tournament on my Facebook hockey page, and every game you keep on having modified rules for the games, and then the winners move towards one way and the ones that lost move the other way. But before we do that, we'd work on some sort of a skill. It could be there can only be wrist passes, or maybe goals only count on given goals, stuff like that. So I don't think that we have this innately all inside of us, and it's just to bring it out. We have to do some direct teaching too, and then put the things into various games. And also, I'll just leave it right there. But anyway, I want to make that point.
Tom, in relation to that, what was you said about the baby and the bathwater?
Well, I think we tend to go, okay, we're going to go all games. It's like in education. We weren't having kids write, and we were focused on spelling and underline, subject, predicate, noun, verb when I took English and all this, and we didn't write very much. And they went through a stage that they threw all that out, and kids are writing, but they can't spell, and the sentence structure was awful. And I think you have to do fundamental skills along with the other part. You can't just assume that they're going to know all this stuff without, actually teaching. You can't have a kid playing hockey their whole life with their top hand, excuse me, their thumb pointing up in the air with their top hand. You have to correct that, or they'll never be any good, because mechanically you can't do things. So I don't think we can throw the instruction out, but we just have to, it didn't used to be any games. Like when I played hockey, basically it was all outdoors in the Stone Age, and our practice was warm up the goalie, do a few breakouts, and then we had controlled scrimmage where we froze where we were when the coach blew the whistle. You talk about team play, and then we do some fitness skating. That was practice forever. And then we saw the Russians and all that in 72, and everybody went crazy with drills, but they didn't pay attention that half the Russian practice was games. We just saw these drills. We'd never seen these flow drills and all this before. We just went crazy with flow drills and threw the game right out. And anybody that used it was way behind the times. And, and now I think we can't just go to games and leave out the technical part, because it's really important. So,
Tom, I'm sitting here embarrassed because I was one of those who would blow the whistle and shout "freeze," and I'd point out where they were lost in the shape of their structure. They hadn't figured it out because I didn't let them to. So what happened is they weren't thinking for themselves. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because I ran hockey schools where I taught those skills, like for 10, 12 years, from 6-year-olds right on up to working with pros where I didn't worry about skills, but we had competitive games. There were a few tactical skills they had to learn, especially if they played defensively, and working with the national team, I did do those with them. But when I was asked to coach that Bantam Double A team with all of my knowledge, and I inherited the team, uh, 2 teams that played in the city final, I picked the best of the litter, and was in 4th place. The previous coach just played games. He had 90 games. He very few practices. The reason he did that is he got hit in the head with a puck early in the year, and he asked the kids if they are in practice, and of course they said not really. And so he just played games, and he reinforced. He demanded 2 things: effort and respect, and he praised them. Good job, boys! Way to go! Way to go! And they won the cities.
But you know what, Wally? In that era, all the research on the efficiency of practice, and I've done this, just videotape one kid. In a drills-based practice, you move between 7 and 11 minutes in an hour, and you stand there, between 49, 53 minutes in a drills-based practice. And people say, oh, we need 2 practices for every game. Well, a kid was moving more in a game if there's 3 lines. The kid's moving 20 minutes in a game if there's 3 lines stop time. Much more than they would in a practice. So when Ken Bracco had games all the time and he didn't run very good practices, it was better for him to play games. So the secret sauce is to run practices that are efficient. And, you're only standing in line for a rest, not because it's a terrible plan, and, so I think practices have changed a lot since, the 70s or whatever you're talking about. I think probably